Hocam bir izleyici sorusu.
As we know, hegemony is power to consensually regulate personal ideas, perceptions, and behaviors through social instruments. Consent production is the state's mental domination over civil society. When Lenin used the concept of hegemony, it meant the leadership of the working class over other classes of society, such as the peasants. Gramsci reorganizes the idea of hegemony as the ideology created by the ruling classes to produce consent. The following thoughts of Engels and Marx in German ideology must have shed light on Gramsci.
Each new class that replaces its predecessor must present its interests as the common interests of all members of society to achieve its aims. The ruling classes must spread the intellectual environment where they will maintain their rule over humanity. The interests of the ruling classes must be presented as the interests of the whole society and made to believe it.
For this reason, the state is presented as being at the service of the entire geography and all people, even though it works in the interests of the ruling classes. The masses are made to believe this. Gramsci calls this produced common sense. Common sense is reinforced by nationalism and religion, but scientific and universal principles also complement it. For this reason, universities, the media, books, and various propaganda institutions are made functional precisely to reproduce these blocks of meaning. Even when a significant economic crisis shakes nation-states, common sense limits the intellectual perspectives of the opposition. Common sense produces conjectures and secrets. The masses cannot see the realities of the political and economic sphere behind these scents and conjectures. The fact of the political and economic sphere is that all elements serve the interests of the ruling classes. The masses strengthen ordinary senses through feelings, thoughts, actions, and relationships they develop. Marx described this with this short but profound expression.
They don't know it, but they are doing it.
Hegemony prevents the masses from seeing what is going on in the political and economic sphere. It makes it impossible for them to realize that this sphere serves the ruling classes. Hegemony is an intervention in the intellectual activities of civil society and thus in the consciousness of the masses. However, this intervention is based on consent, not force.
Yanıyorum, söndürelim mi?
From the first half of the 20th century, nation-states assumed a new role with educational and intellectual institutions. National education took shape in all states. Religious institutions regulated the interpretation of religion. In short, the two most potent phenomena of hegemony, religion and nationalism, were reinforced through the educational role of the state. The nation-state is a set of networks based not on facts but on assumptions. Some of these conjectures are as follows. Even with merit, individuals from oppressed and economically disadvantaged groups are pitted against those born into dominant and economically prosperous societies. Merit alone does not guarantee equality, especially when the competition is inherently unequal. Capitalism, a system that thrives on inequality, permeates every aspect of life, perpetuating this inequality. In no nation state are property owners and the propertyless equal in front of the law. The legal system, often touted as a beacon of equality, is riddled with class-based disparities. People believe they participate in politics thanks to election and the right to vote. However, going to the polls and voting every 3-5 years is not political participation. People can participate in politics in proportion to their property and money. The propertyless cannot participate in politics. They live in the delusion that they participate in politics through voting. Politics is practiced on the street and in life. Associations, free press, and labor unions enable political participation. However, as nation-states become fascist, they close this path. They terrorize peaceful street protests and opposition unions. They reduce politics to elections and the right to vote. Nation-states perpetuate the myth that they will exist forever. Can a business person living in the wealthiest neighborhood of New York and person living in the slums of the same city unite in a common destiny because they speak the same language? It is not the same culture and language that determines common destiny, but how much money you have. Money and property ownership determine class, and people in the same class have the same destiny even if they speak different languages. My fate is the same as that of the precaria all over the world. National destiny claimed to be formed by linguistic commonality is common sense, a myth used by nation-states. Philosophy is a weapon. It gives the power to question state hegemony. For this reason, philosophy takes a backseat in many countries' primary and high school education. The school's ideological apparatus does not allow people to be enlightened. Philosophy mitigates hegemony. It gives the chance to think differently and choose different lives. Imagine lives. Philosophy liberates the individual. Nation-states produce myths of common destiny. This hegemony hides the real commonality. People are partners in poverty. People are familiar with and commonly exploited. People are ordinary in the massacres caused by all states. All states are partners in the economy of killings, at least through international banks and insurance. They are partners in the arms trade. They are partners in falling bombs. Comfortable life in geographies where capital accumulates is the chance of a minority in the world. Even in a capital city, a comfortable life is in the hands of minority. The slums are the areas where people work for this minority or are channeled into consumption through the drug trade. The real success of the nation-state is its ability to conceal this and turn the masses' goals to its advantage through the myths and delusion it produces. Both history and today are witnesses to this. I swear by the century and time that humanity is at a loss. They don't know, but they do.
Set your place on fire.